I'm going to show you how you can go from amateur to master copywriter status using the same ninja methods as applied by top marketers from around the world. It doesn't matter if you're a newbie or if you've been trying for some time with little to no results. You too can start writing compelling sales letters like a professional by following simple steps. I've been in the business of selling information for years, and I can tell you it's a very rewarding experience when you can start a highly profitable business from basically anywhere with just the click of your mouse. First, let me ask you this. Does the idea of producing sales letters that will persuade customers to buy from you sound appealing? Are you frustrated to see how your copies fail to grab the attention of your customers, even after so much time and effort? Or perhaps confused at the reason why customers just aren't motivated enough to read your copies to the end? If your answer is yes to all of the above, then I've got something for you. It's a training course on how to write action-oriented sales letters that effectively generate a call to action. And in no time, you will see just how easy it is to write killer headlines that can entice the attention of customers. This might just change your life and turn the tables, considering that you are discouraged that your copies are not getting the readership numbers that you're hoping for. You own a new business setup and are looking for ways to create brand awareness among customers. You have probably tried reading books and attending free seminars but are still not getting the results that you want. And there's no better time than now to start turning the tables in your favor. With your permission, I would like to introduce Copy Cash Secrets. This is the go-to master guide for copywriting. Finally, you too can be the next copywriting rock star and start raking in massive paychecks. You'll be the most sought-after copywriter in the market and the envy of your peers. When you get this training course, here's what you can look forward to. Construct killer headlines that will grab and retain the interest of clients. Create a compelling call to action that can easily get visitors to click. And ultimately increase your revenue and generate as much as 5 figures on a monthly basis, plus much more. At last, you can start getting fantastic results from your compelling sales letters and generate massive sales revenue. And there's even more good news. Getting this course won't cost you a fortune. You don't need to be tech savvy. In fact, if you feel you're a newbie right now, perfect. This course is designed exactly for you. Click on the button below to secure your Copy Cash Secrets course. I'm also backing my offer with a 100% satisfaction guarantee, or it's your money back for the next 30 days. I'm willing to let this go at such an insanely low price because I want to prove my worth and value to you. So there you have it. Click on the order button now.
Hello, welcome and thanks for choosing this video course. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to write an opener. An introduction is as important as a headline. A headline attracts and a good introduction line allures. Introduction copy is the factor to cause people to continue reading. So without further ado, let's get into the topics. First, you need to emphasize the benefits over features. Features are needed at the right time to show what's included with the product, but they don't convince customers to buy what you're selling. Benefits, on the other hand, are much more persuasive at convincing customers to buy your product. Prospects care more about the benefit provided by the product than the features included. Plus, they sign up to receive the benefits, not the features. More often than not, features are technical aspects that end up confusing customers. They appeal to a select hardcore group of customers, but confuse the rest. Here's what you need to remember. Benefits sell the product and give customers a reason to buy. Features explain clearly what they will receive by using your product and give the customer something to compare against the competition. Features are still needed, but they're not the primary selling point. The second tip is it needs to be as specific as possible. It's easy to make a general claim about a product, but specific proof is much more effective. For example, a conversion rate optimization company could say that their service doubles or triples conversion rates. That's great, but it's not very persuasive. General numbers and general claims are too perfect to be believable by customers. Double or triple is an estimate that's easy to make up. How often does a conversion rate increase by a perfect 100%? Not very often. So what should you do instead? You should be more specific. For example, you should tell customers that your service increased conversion rates for a specific customer by 60% or saves your customers an average of $300 per year. Those numbers are more specific and more believable and seem less likely to have been made up. So when it comes to making a purchase, people are heavily influenced by their emotions. We think we make decisions based purely on logic, but really, most of our purchases are based on emotions. The simple reason is that our emotions are tied more closely to our decision-making than most of us realize. Selling a product's not just about making a case for why the customer needs what you're selling. It's creating a scenario where people want what you have for sale. Apple's a great example of this. The logic behind buying an Apple product is quite poor. You end up paying more for a product with worse technical specification than those from another company. 10 times out of 10, you can get more computers for less than when you buy one from Apple. So why do people pay more for Apple products like a MacBook Pro? The reason is that customers want them. Apple knows how to push the desire button and make people want their product. Customers line up to buy the new iPhone not because it makes so much sense to pay the highest price for the latest phone, but because they have to get it before their friends do. They have to get the latest phone because they want it so badly. You need to do the same thing too. Instead of just listing features and checking off reasons to buy your product, you need to increase the emotional appeal of using it and create a desire in your prospect for what you're selling. Hello there, and thank you for investing your time in this video course. In this video, I'm going to show you how to address problems in creating a sales letter and a sales video. The major challenge in writing an effective sales letter is keeping your prospect, which is your target audience, involved, engaged, and interested in reading your sales letter from top to toe. This challenge is the same as it applies to the sales video as well. It's important to emphasize the what's in it for you nature of your offer, so that your prospects will not turn off and click away from your sales letter or your sales video. Always ensure that your introduction section notifies that there's a problem your prospects are currently facing. From there, indicate to your prospect that there are ways to reduce the problems from your sales letter to ensure that your prospect would be interested in continuing reading. There are 8 formulas for addressing the problem. Some are simple formulas and some are complex formulas, but I'll explain in a sequence from the simplest to the complex. There are many variations of copy letters, which could be in a form of short copies or long copies. All that matters is you, as the copywriter, that determines which formula works best for you, and the content materials that you have to work on. The simplest formula in addressing the problem is just simply stating the problem. This lead opens with just a single problem word. From there, immediately moves into selling the solution. This format is mainly used in small space ads. Malnutrition, new scientist-led discovery, deep within Amazon jungle may help you with your issue effortlessly. It began when Dr. Stephen was crossing the Amazon River and got lost. Weak in geography? Master shortcut geography secrets in just weeks. Only 15 minutes a day with these easy-to-remember techniques. Can't sleep? End this disorder with this new doctor-invented medicine that doesn't require a huge cost, but just pennies a day. From the first formula, you can add in emotional thoughts to the problem statement. For example, depressed about your incoming taxes? You're just a few days away from relief when you discover the secrets this former tax agent reveals that can ease your concerns for a small fraction of what you owe. Frustrated by your constipation? Now there's a quick secret that will have you feeling better in as little as 24 hours. If a single problem formula is not good enough, you could throw in more problems and symptoms into your sales letter and sales video. It was a very common formula usually found in sales letters and ads. This formula, called the problem flurry, often is used on a less targeted market or a more complicated problem that may have different issues for different people. For example, are you becoming concerned with your children? Defiance, isolation, temper tantrums, mood swings? They all have clues. Something is wrong and now you have to work things out. You're losing your child to problems you are not able to deal with. The fact is, your children may need more help than you're able to give. Well, there's hope. I say that because of my own experience. Based on the problem flurry formula, you can write in a conditional lead by using such words as are you, then, if, then. Take, for example, are you tired of cleaning every weekend? Then you'll love our new Acme Plasti Cleaning Liquid that can guarantee against fading, dirt, or smudge for 2 weeks. Here's how this miracle of science works to keep your home looking clean week after week. And here's the famous Halbert lead. If you're struggling with stomach pain, then this may be one of the most significant letters you read in your life. Here's why. By following up with the 2 formulas that I have explained, you can develop the Identify the Customer Before problem formula. For example, for any copywriter who's ever struggled with developing sales letters, here's a simple method this million-dollar top-writing A-plus list copywriter uses to cheat his or her way to multi-million-dollar control techniques. Moving on to the next tip will be the PASS formula, Problem, Agitate, Solution. Among the 8 formulas, Problem, Agitate, Solve formula is the go-to method in creating a sales letter or sales video. Compared to the previous formulas that I've explained, the following formula will be more complex. One of the main elements master persuaders often include in their sales content is to amplify and agitate the pain before getting into the solution. The following are a few examples that I'll share with you. Do you have too much to read? In this age of information overload, you're not alone. Yet not keeping up with the latest information and discussions could be a serious and vital mistake. Often the ideas this information contains are available nowhere else. One simple idea can create $1 million breakthrough. But how can you know which are worth reading, let alone find the time to read and analyze all of them? Luckily for you, there's a solution. It's called the Great Summary. Here's how it works. Another complex formula you can look into is called the PCASS formula. Problem, Cause, Amplify, Solution. Because how this formula works is that you're amplifying the problem by explaining the root cause of the problem. Take, for example, the following paragraphs. If you suffer from any of these torturous symptoms of weak hands, twitching hands, cramped hands, then these facts below may be the most important information you have ever read at the moment, because they indicate for perhaps the first time in your life how the muscles surrounding your hands may have fooled you into accepting the following agonizing symptoms: joint pain, pain on the fingers, wrist problems, nerve pains. The sample sales letter that I've explained can still be expanded with in-depth and detailed information, but it depends on what kind of content materials you're working on and who your targeted viewers or readers are. The next formula is the variation that usually can be seen in a story copy, but this formula is a viable option for sales writing too. Also known as the Hero's Quest formula. It combines the various elements of the previous formulas that I have introduced. The following are a couple of examples that I'll explain. I like everything about jogging except when my feet sweat. It really annoys me. My feet are wet while I'm running the stretch. I've tried various shoes, I've tried powders, I've tried vitamins, I've spent thousands of dollars on possible solutions, but nothing ever made a bit of difference. So I decided to solve the problem on my own. Over the course of 2 years, I conducted 300 different tests and experiments. I spent thousands of hours researching, discussing with doctors, with shoe designers, with research centers. I have spent over $500,000 and had my home equity line maxed. Finally, on my 301st experiment, I discovered a secret that ended my sweating wet feet forever. I put windows in the socks. Here's how this astonishing invention will end your sweat and embarrassment forever. These are the 8 great formulas for efficiently creating a problem-solution lead that captures your readers' and viewers' attention and shifts them into the sales copy. Imagine the life of the copywriter. A solitary figure sitting intently at a computer screen or out the window, flexing those mental muscles to create a killer headline out of thin air that will result in millions of dollars in sales. Well, maybe not. A more likely scenario has the copywriter looking for inspiration in her collection of winning space ads, sales letters, and even the latest issue of Cosmo. She'll also be reading books that consist of nothing more than collections of headlines that have proven to work. These compilations are called swipe files, and they're worth their weight in gold when it comes to crafting great headlines. Why? Because great headlines are constructed in a certain time and money-tested way that can be adapted into different contexts and reused over and over. Anytime a promotion rakes in big bucks, you can bet copywriters as well as direct marketers will be studying and saving that headline for future reference. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to construct your killer headlines formula. It's no secret that how-to articles and blog posts are some of the most sought-after, linked to, and bookmarked content online. People want useful information, and they'll reward you for it by promoting it to others. The biggest battle is getting enough people to read it in the first place, and that battle is either won or lost at the headline. What's more, writing a killer how-to headline will help you write even better how-to content when you fulfill the promise you made to get people to read in the first place. The crazy thing about the popularity of how-to content is the fact that people don't really want to learn how to do anything else. But it's due to the extremely busy lives we lead that prompts us to seek out tips, tricks, and methods to make our lives better, easier, and ultimately happier for ourselves. Focusing on the better, easier, and happier is the key to write how-to headlines and content. It's not that people aren't smart enough to understand the implied benefits of learning how to do something. It's quite the opposite. Actually, it's just that implied benefits don't prompt action like express benefits do. It's been said that it's unlikely to write a bad how-to headline. That may be true, but what comes after those two magic words can make all the difference in the amount of attention and readership your writing gets. Let's take a look at the structure of a few most used how-to headlines and see if we can figure out why they work and adapt them to new content creation. How to lose weight and stay healthy without exercising. This may be the well-known how-to headline among girls. The headline structure is potent. You got the number one benefit right after how-to, with another benefit following the word and. Simple, right? There's a subtle relationship between the first benefit and the second that suggests if you can achieve the first, you can automatically achieve the second. The dual benefit how-to structure will always work if you logically link the two together and deliver relevant and substantive tips with your content. Give it a try. It's often harder than what you might think to extract the true benefits of learning how to do something. Often you can simply take a normal how-to title and make it better simply by using the transition word that immediately following the subject matter of the tutorial. Once you add the term that, just ask yourself what the top benefits of your tutorial are. Then figure out the best way to say it, which usually means as specific as possible. How to get a mortgage that saves you money. How to get a mortgage that cuts your monthly payment in half. How to get a mortgage that gets you in your dream home while saving you $937 a month. Want to increase the curiosity factor of your headline while guaranteeing that you'll nail the primary benefit of your tutorial? Start with the term how, but leave out the term to. You'll still be making a beneficial promise to your reader that will be fulfilled in the content, but the intriguing factor will be higher and your results turn even better. Let's look at these famous headlines. How I improved my memory in one evening. How I made a fortune with a full idea. How a new kind of clay improved my complexion in 30 minutes. Those are pretty intriguing headlines, right? Likewise, let's say you're a brilliant techie who has just solved a problem that affects millions of computer users, and you're aiming to light up Hacker News for a week. Any headline that lists a number of reasons, secrets, types, or ways will work because, once again, it makes a very specific promise of what's in store for the reader. A nice quantifiable return on attention invested goes a long way toward prompting action, and as long as you deliver with quality content, you'll have a satisfied reader. Plus, these types of posts and articles are perfect for building your authority and demonstrating a mastery of your area of expertise. If you're business blogging, that's key. 10 ways to beat your belly fats. a classic that can only flop if you fail to deliver. Concentrate on writing content that sparkles, and people will acknowledge that you not only know what you're talking about, but you also communicate it well. 5 familiar skin problems. Commiserate with your readers by setting forth problems you know they're having, and they just might realize that you have the right solution. 6 types of investors. Which group are you in? Let the readers identify themselves by providing categories which they will likely fall into. Using the term "you" when addressing people appeals the most towards readers when they know it's focusing on them. How to give your children extra calcium, the 3 delicious ways. A how-to headline mixed in with a list. It's almost not fair. Note that the word "these" plus the number of items followed by adjective "ways" is an extremely specific and powerful use of 4 simple words. Free book about 12 secrets to better weight management. Use this style of headline and content structure with a free report or tutorial that you are promoting, and you should get a wider circulation. What are some of the characteristics of people who crank out blog titles that work really well most of the time? Is it something anyone can learn? Yes, and except in very rare cases, writing great post titles and other headlines can be learned. Rather than relying on natural talent, people who consistently produce convincing headlines have learned how to do 3 basic things. 1, they understand that all compelling headlines make it an intriguing promise that makes it almost irresistible to its target audience. Understanding the intended audience is the key. A really great headline generally won't appeal to everyone, and watering it down for a mass appeal will only hurt you. 2, they study headlines that have been proven to work, and that usually means direct response advertising headlines. In that context, proven to work means people responded to that particular headline by pulling out their wallets and making a purchase. You can also learn by studying some of the top magazine headline writers who work for Cosmopolitan and similar glossies, and even the tabloids you see at the supermarket checkout lane. 3, most importantly, rather than simply mimicking great headlines, they understand why the headline works, and therefore can make an educated decision as to which type of headline structure is the most appropriate and how to tweak it within a certain context. Hello there, and welcome to the Copy Cache Secrets, where I'll be touching on how to handle objections with your sales copy. No matter how great your product or services are, you may be stunned by the fact that no matter how persuasive your sales copy is, it would still fail to generate the desired response from your target audience. While there could be various reasons for this, what's often overlooked is addressing the objections driving through your prospect's mind. Even though the main target of your sales letter is to demonstrate how your product or service will solve a heated problem in a highly competitive environment, it's not enough to settle the deal. Once you've explained the problem, stirred the emotions of the reader, and provided the solution, you'll need to be able to tick off all the objections they may have to buying from you. While there could be potentially several reasons for your prospect to avoid making a purchase decision, generally there are 5 most common ones you need to think about. There will be offshoots of these, but mostly they fall into these categories. There are times when you would receive this objection: I can get the same results on my own. This is due to the fact that you have not stated your core benefit clearly enough. Sounds simple, yes? But when you're focused on creating a list of features and benefits, you could forget to state your point in such a convincing way that readers shifted towards your purchase button. So how do you overcome it? At the early section of your sales presentation, you need to present your product or service and clearly state what people would gain when they use it. Never ever beat around the bush. It's best to make it as plain and simple as possible so there won't be any doubt about what you're selling. In a sales page, the product's always introduced first. The product name is usually given in the header, and the introduction talks about the content. After the introduction, a summary is put together that explains about the benefits of the product. If your product or service is complex or it provides various benefits, it's best to provide a summary. By providing a summary statement that acts as an elevator speech for your product or services, this helps people to grasp the full scope of what they're getting from it. From there, after you've described your product, provide the unique selling proposition, USP. To overcome the "I can do it myself" objection, make your benefits as big as you can without losing credibility. Unlike any other common objections, one of the most frustrating objections is, "It doesn't cost enough." For marketers, one of the biggest challenges has always been the pricing, but there's always a way to generate sales. Whether if they're aware or not, people use the price of the product to establish its natural value. If the price is too high, they may think the product is too advanced or complex. But if the pricing's too low, they'll question your product quality standard to be probably low. So how do you overcome that? What you should do is emphasize the value of the product or the service, then the price. If you pile in the value of your product statements first instead of placing the price into perspective, this would create an impression to your prospects the value of purchasing the product. Before the price objection comes into your prospect's mind, it's the thought of, does it work? Usually, prospects would want proof that your product or service lives up to what you say it does. Tread carefully if your solution seems to be too easy or straightforward. People won't be sold to the idea that it works. If the solution is described in a complex manner, they would probably be more inclined to believe it works. They'll assume it would take too much time or effort. So how do you overcome it? Features and benefits is a good place for your kickstart. The more in-depth the information about your product or service is, the more credible it is to your readers. Throughout your sales copy, add in as many necessary details as possible. After you've provided your sales pitch, summarize all the details that your readers receive. You can finalize it with providing proof by adding in testimonials from satisfied customers. If you have them, use testimonials that address the objections you expect your visitors would voice. If you don't have them, spend some time gathering testimonials. You could try sending an email to customers asking them to share their opinions about your product or services. If your product's brand new, invite people to test out your product in return for their feedback. Moreover, if you have a relationship with an influence in your niche, ask for them to provide a review. A single testimonial from a renowned name may have the similar impact as several average users. Now moving on, there are readers that may be totally sold on how your product works. Your testimonials and benefit statements may have all done their part. There is a chance that your readers may have already purchased various similar products like yours with no success. The outcome is that they don't trust your product will ever work for them too. So the thought is, will it work for me? So how do you convince them that your product will work? If you have stories of people who had never ever achieved success until they tried your product, by all means use them. Excluding that, you need a solid guarantee that your visitor can test and try your product without a single risk. Make the best guarantee you can afford to make, and these doubters will be much more interested to respond. Now to the last objection in today's market, credibility is critical to shifting your prospects into motion. If your visitors have the thought of, "I've never heard of you before," they'll be suspicious. Their underlying belief is that if you are a valid business, they should have heard about you before. So how do you overcome it? Do not hide your name from hindsight. Be as transparent as possible. In the aspect of genuine openness, people would be more inclined to believe you. You could mix in with a biography giving more information about you, your achievements, and your reasoning for offering the product, and people will be more comfortable with you. Always include a profile picture. Seeing a face along with your name helps people feel they can actually trust you. This list of strategies to overcome objections we've provided are great ways for you to apply it to your sales copy. Prove every promise. Be transparent about your product or services and its benefits, and add in testimonials and credibility boosters. Most copywriters would put aside from directly addressing objections, thinking that they will be perceived as aggressive or pushy. But there's nothing that could be further from the truth. Objections begin streaming through your prospects' thoughts the moment they realize you're selling something. The usual case is they aren't even aware they're putting up an objection. By explaining the reason for that objection, you could catch them off guard. Your unique ability to read their minds, so to speak, can cause them to lower their guard and hear you without objection. There will always be a time where objections will come into play and you will have to overcome it. So make sure that you list every potential objection before you start writing your sales copy. If you're able to remove those doubts, you're closer to getting the sales that you've always wanted. Hello there, and welcome to the Copy Cash Secrets, where I'll be teaching you on how to write a call to action and how to close the sale. Now, you may be questioning yourself on how do I start writing my own call to action copy? Well, let me show you how to write compelling call to action copy that can easily get visitors to click. Begin with subjects and verbs, as it helps readers to quickly pick up the meaning of a sentence. As basic as these facts may be, acknowledging this when developing your call to action is significant when the attention of readers is usually obscure. By not adding in a verb in the call to action copy, you're not prompting readers to take action, which can affect the click-through rate of your call to action and negatively impact conversions. Include data and numbers is a great way to show that your message is clear and simple. Numbers are a good way to break through the clutter of vagueness. Be specific about your offer and set the proper expectations. A number tells visitors specifically what they're going to get, how much of it, and for how long. This technique has proven to be successful not only for call to action copy, but also for blog post titles, press release headlines, and email subject lines. Furthermore, adding in digits in your sales copy can potentially increase total views. So what kind of data or numbers should you include in your call to action copy? You can mention a specific discount, list of numerical impact or benefit of a product or service you're providing. Use adverbs sparingly, as most of them can be recognized by their ly ending. For example, finally, sadly, and quickly. However, there are various types of adverbs, and their function is to change constituents other than nouns. Essentially, they have no fixed position in a sentence. For example, you can place the word totally at different places in the same sentence. Keep it between 90 and 150 characters, as the call to action has to be short and brief. Don't write long-winded copy that may take your visitor a longer time to read. Make words less technical and more practical in your call to action, as it will most likely reflect industry-specific knowledge. However, there are some of the best practices that held true for all call to action copy, regardless of industry. Compared to the previous points that I've explained so far, this point comes from the best practices of other marketing activities. Words such as insights, analysis, answers, questions, advice, review, why, product, type, and best. These words help to suggest that content can improve the reader in a way. The same logic can be useful in developing a call to action copy by emphasizing the benefits of the offer and how it can make your prospects better. There are certain words such as franchise, investment, virtualization, and conferencing which attract fewer readers. These terms are basically implying the forced complexity and are considered to be less appealing to readers. It's best to avoid such technical jargon in your call to action copy. Now that I've explained the ways to write your call to action copy, let's move on to the part where I'll show you how to close the sale. When it comes to your sales copy, if you want your readers to do something, you need to ask them. But do you know how to ask them straight away? If there's a way to direct your readers to action that works better than others, do you know what it is? How do you get your audience to click, download, subscribe, or even purchase? What could you do to enhance overall response rates? To help out with these questions, I'll be showing you the 7 specific call to action examples and strategies that could work. First example, offer something of value. Whether if you're offering a free download, a 15% off discount, or something else, providing your audience something of value is a great way to get them to respond to your call to action. This type of request speaks straight to a reader's sense of motivation, encouraging him or her to complete a task because of what comes in return. To use this option, you should ask yourself what's in it for your reader and emphasize that in your call to action. Second example, speak to objections. You understand what your customer's main objections will be in deciding to purchase, so why not head them off before they occur? Address directly to these biggest objections by responding to them right in your call to action. If it's worry about product satisfaction, include money-back guarantee in your sales copy. If it's cold feet about commitment, assure them of what they could have gained. Think through the setbacks from a customer's point of view of responding to your request and figure out a way to ease their concerns. Third example, rouse curiosity. Think about what entices you to click to an ad or respond to a call to action. Isn't it often because there's something in it that made you feel interested? You wanted to find out more or learn something. Use this to your advantage. Make it simple for your readers to do what you want them to do by making it difficult to resist. Gain their interest. Make them have the desire to learn more. Question them to which they want to find out the answer to, and you'll see an increase in response. The fourth example, use social proof. People are much more likely to click something when they found out other people have done it too. When possible, use social proof to your advantage. Try a call to action that references the approval of other customers and fans. Look at why 9 out of 10 clients chose our product, or join the 5,100 viewers subscribing to our sales letter. Are solid examples of this sort of call to action. Show your audience that doing what you're asking will make them a part of the group. The fifth example, include a timeline. A sense of urgency adds significance to your call to action. When there's a timeline on your request, readers understand they have a limited time in which to act, and that prioritizes a decision. To encourage readers to respond to your request, provide them a deadline. Try a take action now to earn our 25% discount, or perhaps a this offer is only available for 14 days only. The sixth example, customize to your audience. Not every reader is similar, so your calls to action should be varied. Rather than applying to a one-size-fits-all method, think about the people you're trying to reach. The better you know your audience, the more equipped you are to reach them. If your goal is to gain more sales, develop your calls to action to appeal to your most common demographics. To be even more effective, develop various calls to action for different stages of the sales cycle in order to convince readers through their purchases. The seventh example, sweeten the deal. Think about the famous commercials where they ask viewers to increase their donations. They always provide extra incentives. This similar principle works online. When you want your readers to provide a little more money or purchase another product or take their action one step further, use a call to action that sweetens their incentives when they do. Hello, welcome, and thanks for choosing this video course. In this video, I'm going to touch on Subhead's formula. The subheadline is like an extension of the headline. It continues to draw the reader in while providing even more intriguing information that keeps them reading. It's what stops you from walking by the new release shelf and over to the non-fiction rack, because it's not only captured your attention, but got your full attention. Now you're curious. You are enticed. Subheadlines are often one of the most effective ways to keep readers reading. They introduce each section of your writing, letting the reader know what they're about to find out. The subheadlines do not have to be as bold as the headline, but they must maintain the reader's attention. First of all, subheads actually serve a few important purposes. The first subhead, can often gently imply that if your reader doesn't continue reading, they will lose out on something. Also, the first subhead acts as the first key point for people who will only read the subheads and bullets. In general, there are two kinds of copy readers. There are those who are captivated by your entire story and will read from beginning to end. There are also those who don't need to know your story, your history. They are already sold on you. They simply want to decide if they want this service or product. These people read the subheads and bullets, and that's about it. Therefore, the subheads must tell an entire story of their own from top to bottom. The last one would be the subheads should all be the same font size. If your text is 10 point and your headline was 20 or 24 point, then having subheads in 14 or 16 point is about right. The consistency allows the skimmer to easily read the story of the subheads without the seemingly unimportant details. Your goal is to get the readers to read all the way to the end of your copy so they can do business with you. With well-written subheadlines, you can do this easily. You can use them as highlighted notes that give a hint that there's much more to come if the reader just keeps on reading. In order to gain a better result, it's essential that you need to apply a few techniques to achieve what you wanted. Here are some of the techniques I would suggest you practice. 1. Express clear and complete benefit. As long as you think of your subheads as what they actually are, subheadlines, you should do well. Even people who have learned to write compelling primary headlines often slack off with subheads and commit the sin of cryptic or cute headings that fail to communicate anything of true value to the reader. 2. Use parallelism that advocates action. In the case of articles and blog posts, your overall flow will improve if your subheads all start with the same part of speech, parallelism, and that part of speech is a verb. For example, the subheads from this post are: turn a scanner back into a reader with subheads. Keep your reader on track with benefits. Use these 3 subhead techniques for better results. Win the battle against the scanners. 3. Try writing your subheads first. It can be helpful to write your headline first to properly define the overall compelling benefit of the piece has to offer. You can clearly delineate the sections of your copy by then writing your subheads next before any body text. This will help you to optimally structure your content. If it helps, think of everything you write as a list. How many points, benefits are you trying to make in order to properly communicate your topic or pitch? List them out, and if you find that one or more of these points doesn't really fit or provide a benefit to the reader, toss it. Hello there, and welcome to the Copy Cache Secrets, where I'll be touching on introducing the solutions in developing sales letters and videos. Now, if you understand how to build your readers' or viewers' interest by making them feel the issue arisen, it's time to provide the solution. This section of the sales letter is where you must daringly stake your claim that you can solve the reader's problem. This is the part where you will introduce yourself, your product, or your services to the reader. You may introduce your product and service to your readers with the examples given here. 1. Relieve the reader's mind by telling them that there is no need to struggle through all of their concerns because your product or services will solve it for them. 2. From here, you could describe about your product or service's biggest benefits, and your prospects will get that from them. 3. You should provide a list of its features, like the sections of an ebook, for example, but always make sure to include as many benefits with each feature. 4. State and describe your products or services' unique selling proposition, USP. What makes it stand out compared to other similar products or services on the market? 5. This is where you should also repeatedly explain about the benefits of trying your solution. Try to be as detailed as possible to gain a deeper emotional connection with your prospects. 6. Moreover, you would want your prospects to consistently feel that they're sitting face-to-face in a real-life conversation. It makes you as the seller feel more believable. 7. Lastly, always ensure that your body copy is easy to read by strategically locating plenty of sidebars with graphics and text on either side of your page. Use bulleted lists while writing long and short sentences, in alternating long and short paragraphs, and placing subheads from the beginning of each section covering a different topic. Have you ever thought about what happens if you do not describe the benefits of your product or your services in your sales letter or video? That's right, there won't be any sales. Any copywriter would know that this is a bad idea not to explain the key benefits of a product. Usually, most people would mistake features and benefits as the same thing. Sad to say, it's become a common mistake appearing in most sales letters. If you're in the shoes of your potential customer, you should be more interested in how a product or service can benefit you than knowing how it's like. What's the last product you've bought through online or offline? Why did you purchase it? Did you purchase it because of its features, or perhaps you bought it because it can benefit you and solve your problem? To understand the differences between these two terms, benefit means an advantage, to be useful or profitable too. In the case of your selling your product or services on a web page, you should be explaining how useful or how your product can solve your prospect's problems. In the case of feature, it means characteristics. In the case that you're selling your product or services through a web page, you should be informing your prospect what form your product is, be it digital or physical. Take, for example, you're selling a physical product, which is a bottle of orange juice on your store. The feature of your product is it's easy to bring around to wherever you go. The benefit of your product is that consumers can now gain the richest source of vitamin C in an easy way. If it's a digital product that you're selling, for example, photo editing software on your web page, the features of your product are supports Windows touchscreen device and customized toolbars. There, the benefits are your customers can download it instantly and they can download the trial version for free. When you're writing, you must be wondering, which do I put more emphasis on? The truth is that both features and benefits are equally important, but you would need to spend more time explaining your benefits. By describing benefits and how it benefits your customers, you're basically educating and convincing your customer at the same time. Essentially, a feature without a benefit is nothing. When you're explaining the benefit of your feature, your sales copy needs to be your targeted audience. Always have a major insight into the product and be clear and concise. The most important aspect when writing both features and benefits of your product or service is always have a mindset of selling the solution to your prospects, not the product itself. Even though selling a product is the most important part, you have to understand that people buy a product because of gaining the benefits of it or solving their problems. People will never buy a product just for the sake of buying a product. If your mindset is fixed to the idea of just selling the product, now is a good time to shift it to the idea of selling the solution and benefits the product gives you, and will find your sales will start to grow in time. As you understand by now that it's better to stress more on benefits rather than features. If you have identified the underlying benefit that each feature of a product or service provides to the prospect, that would certainly prompt the purchase. The simple idea of emphasizing the benefits over features may sound simple, but it's not an easy task without a lot of practice. For a writer that's not familiar with writing benefits would end up writing fake benefits instead. Fake benefits would make your sales copy look cheap. Take, for example, lose weight fast and easy. That sounds pretty beneficial, isn't it? The truth is, there's not a single explanation that shows a real benefit in the headline. How a real benefit should sound like is this. Most people want to lose weight the fast and easy way, but if you want to lose weight the proper way, it's to cut back on sugars, eat vegetables, exercise regularly, drink more water, and sleep better. This is the true benefit that the example product or services should offer by describing in detail what the person must practice. So how do you effectively extract true benefits from features? All you need to do is follow these simple 4 steps. 1. Develop a list of every feature of your product or service. 2. Ask yourself why each feature is necessary in the first place. 3. Ask why and how does this relate with the prospect's desires. 4. Get to the absolute root of what's in it for the prospect at an emotional level. Now take for an example a GPS app. Feature, a unique mobile navigation system. Why it's there, provides better utility by adapting and customizing the user's Sage experience. What's in it for them? Stores the data you need the most at the forefront when you're in a hurry. Emotional root. Stay up to date wherever you are while traveling without having to be stressed out from using old ways to navigate. Even though benefits are more significant than features, there are times features alone would easily do the trick to get people being sold to your product or service. There are people out there that do not exactly have to be driven into an emotional state to purchase your product or service. If a feature is fairly well known and expected from your audience, you don't even have to sell it. Even if the feature is well known, you would still need to shift the prospect down the 4-step path, as a person would still want to know how the product or service works and what it does for him or her. Most of the time, our decisions are usually based on deep-rooted emotional motivations, which we then justify after the fact with logic to purchase a product or service. So it's best to help develop the emotional desire, then back it up with rationalization with features and solid data so that the person would have the desire to purchase. Hello there and welcome to the Copycash Secrets, where I'll be teaching you on how to boost your sales. In this module, I'll be touching on how to guarantee, how to add bonuses, FAQ section, and scarcity. Words are a powerful tool if utilized properly by anyone in marketing or sales. Keyword for guarantee is an essential component for most good e-commerce marketing copy. The word guaranteed appeals to consumer emotional triggers like safety and trust. The word works like a safety net, which is a promise made by a retailer to a customer that they will be pleased with their purchase. In behavioral economics, studies have indicated that humans are inherently afraid of loss when purchasing an item due to the chance of disliking it. By indicating the word guarantee in a sales copy, this would diminish the consumer's possibility of loss. Keywords such as guarantee, money-back guarantee, and versions like or your money back should be applied into the sales copy. Words and promises are nothing if you don't act on it. You can show your prospects that you're concerned and care for them. You can easily express this by providing a money-back guarantee policy. Take, for example, a digital product which usually has the 90 days policy duration. This indication on your sales copy will let your prospect know that you're shouldering all the risk for him or her. Providing a money-back guarantee will indicate how confident you are in the top quality of your product or your services too. In any case, if your customer does not like your product or he or she thinks it is not suitable, he or she can promptly ask for a refund and stop using your product or services. Even though having a money-back guarantee policy is a good thing to have in your business, there will always be a possibility that your prospects may exploit this feature. For example, a prospect purchases your product and later seeks for a refund with the wrong reasons while still keeping the product. This would affect your business policy to a minor degree, but it is best to invest more time on improving or pushing in more revenue for your business. Generally, most prospects would not exploit such an act, and the sales you make easily surpass the amount of refunds. If you want to make your sales copy to convince people to purchase your product or services, a great way is to provide incentive and help people decide to buy from you by adding in bonuses along with your product. Essentially, bonuses and incentives help you to develop extra value to your original offer. You can increase the value of your offer by adding in something which has its own separate value that can be very attractive in the eyes of your customers. Bonuses can be in many forms depending on what kind of product or your services are. It can be a physical product or information products or extra services, such as free consultations or even a free trial. You might be asking yourself, how do I even deliver the bonuses to my customers? Simply put, the method of bonus delivery varies. For example, your product requires members to log into a web page to gain access to tutorial videos. You can easily include the bonuses in their own section within that membership site. In a digital product such as an ebook, you could include extra files or instructions in a form of a zip file for download. You could even deliver your bonuses via email after purchase. When it comes to how to package your product and bonuses, always package your offers so that your bonuses are given away for free on top of the main product that you're offering. Moreover, deliver the bonuses as items that are separate from the main product to create an impression that both items are separate entities. To ensure that your bonuses are convincing enough to get your customers to purchase your product or services, it's best to ensure that your bonuses are in a way related to the main product. It's one of the ways to provide incentives for your customers to purchase your product, and the bonuses are being seen as an added value. Nonetheless, bonuses are not necessary features to include in your sales copy, but rather the sales copy is the main driving force that determines the value of your product. In general, as long as you can convince your prospects the actual value they are gaining from your product or services, there will be a certainty you will gain sales from it with or without bonuses. To ensure your prospects understand what your sales copy is all about, you have to ask yourself, what is it that I want my prospects to walk away with from my sales copy? You must address and answer the important questions your prospect should have in mind when he or she is reading your sales copy. Let me explain to you the 4 questions that should make your prospect fully understand the sales copy. Why should I trust you? What credibility do you have? With all forms of scams and false information being advertised through sales copy, disbelief sets in very quickly for prospects. You have to make your prospects trust what you're telling them is the undeniable truth. When it comes to credibility, you should show them statistics or details to back up your claims. Prove to them that your sales copy is the truth from the start, and they'll believe everything you have to say from that point forward. Why should I purchase your product or service? Why not other people's? You need to find out why your product is different and why your prospects need them. The more specific, the better it is to determine a specific prospect should consider your product or services. Why should I buy now and not later? The last question you must answer for your prospect is why they need to buy it immediately. If you fail to answer this question, your prospect may act at a later date. You should provide a good reason to act straight away. Provide a special price if they act within the next few days' time, or you could tell them the product or services are limited and it won't be available. How can your product or service help me? Provide a list of benefits the customer could gain with your product and services, and list them from the most significant to the least. If one of your benefits can capture their need for your product, then you're going to make a new customer. Are you looking for ways to prompt your prospect to purchase now? Perhaps you should make your product or services less available. The principle is called scarcity, which is a psychological influence that people would value something more if it's in short supply. Perceived value has an inverse relationship to availability. Certain things that are valued because they are useful, unique, or effective. There are others that have value simply because they are scarce. If you want to persuade people to purchase your product or services to boost your sales, using scarcity means emphasizing that your product or service is scarce or limited in one or more of these options. Quantity. Only a number of it exists or are available. Example, limited edition products, collector's editions. For example, just 100 of these custom-designed Jurassic Park silver emblems are ever produced. Time. Only available within a short window frame. For example, Black Friday sale, in which the sale is only available on Friday. Competition. Competing against other people to gain first access, where they're likely used in conjunction with another aspect of scarcity. For example, high demand for a premium helicopter ride is sure to be amazing. Book your ride before the September 30th deadline. Threat. The chance will be taken away forever if you fail to act. For example, post office closure plans are based on usage patterns, so use your local PO or lose it. Profile. Only available to certain prospects or existing customers. The group can determine on the basis of age, purchase history, geographical location, or any relevant attribute. For example, as someone who's previously purchased Windows 10, you've been selected to receive information about this amazing subscription offer. Invitation. Only available if an existing customer invites you. For example, SoundCloud is currently in an invitation-only beta, which means you need to have received an invitation to take access of this service. If you're going to use the scarcity technique in your sales copy, it's important to take note that people are not naive. Prolonged usage of this technique is ill-advised, as over time it will soon lose its power to motivate your prospects. Hello, welcome and thanks for choosing this video course. In this video, I'm going to show you the ultimate formula for copywriting. Without any further ado, let's get started. If you want to persuade, you've got to let the folks know what they're in for. What's your product? What does it do? Who is it for? Start with a simple overview, a bird's eye look at what you've got to offer. Here's an example. A step-by-step home study course that teaches struggling entrepreneurs how to bring in more customers. These are the features of your product or service. They're important, although they're not as important as the benefits. But if you gloss over the details of what your product or service actually contains, people will be skeptical about putting their money down. And as we all know, skeptical people don't buy. For some reason, the distinction between benefits and features is hard to remember, but what it's going to do for you is much easier to keep in mind. And it's the same thing. What's better about life with your product? Describe the end result, the after picture once your customer has bought your product and used it as you recommended. Let the reader know how your product helps her reach the goals that matter most to her. For example, you'll have more confidence, less stress, and you'll have a simple, proven plan for smoothing out those awful cash flow gaps in your business. Whether or not you need this step depends on where you are with this particular reader. If she's been reading your blog for a year, she knows you very well. so you may be able to skip it. But most of the time you need to establish that you're a trustworthy and worthwhile person and that you know what you're talking about. This is why good sales letters often include a photo near the top of the page. The photo can include some elements that help the reader like and trust the author. Babies and dogs are always winners here. If your topic is gardening, a photo of you in front of your own great garden is a credibility builder. And you've probably noticed that in weight loss, we always seem to get a good look at the fitness guru's terrific abs. That's what this element's pointing to. Not just who you are, but how you're like your customer and what you offer that benefits her. So it's not actually about you after all, it's about how you help her. This is our old friend, the call to action. The reader needs to know specifically what to do next. Don't just put a link in. Tell her to click here. Don't ask the reader what to do this minute to move forward with the sale. Be specific and painstakingly clear. And of course, if you have a good scarcity element, like your terrific offer is going away in 6 days, you may make that very clear here. Every step of your persuasion sequence, whether it's a short opt-in page or a months-long sideways sales letter, needs a clear and specific call to action. Hello there, and welcome to the Copy Cash Secrets, where I'll be teaching you how a video sales formula should be. From here, you can realize and understand that writing sales copy and developing a sales video isn't much of a difference. Compared to a sale copy layout, a sales video layout usually contains a headline followed by the video below. So, what are the key elements that are needed to make a compelling video sales page? Unlike sales copy, you only need 4 key items on your sales video page. Gripping headline. The headline needs to do 2 things: create a promise and encourage visitors to watch your sales video. Basically, your headline needs to be mind-blowing. You can use the word presentation instead of the word video. By stating free presentation, for example, you're letting visitors know that this sales video may be free, but it contains valuable, standalone content. Video sales letter. The second important component is definitely the sales video in which you work your sales magic. Buy button. Last but not least, the buy button is essential when you're asking for a sale. Video length. Usual sales video length is 30 to 40 minutes, but it may be varied. The most important aspect is to ensure that your sales video covers the essential information, especially on building up on the value and benefits of your product or services. If your sales video is a hybrid format that comprises of sales copy, you could be looking at 8 to 16 minutes of video. Next, we'll be touching on the 12 straightforward steps of video sales letters. The template should be 1. Attention-grabbing greeting. Similar to the headline in a sales letter, your first slide must grab your viewer's attention. 2. Identify the problem with a promise to solve it. Follow up from the greeting. You need to address the problem that resonates with the viewer. From there, let them know if they keep viewing, they'll learn how to solve this problem. By doing so, it will reassure the viewers that they're watching the right video, and it indicates that you actually understand their problem that they're facing. 3. Establishing video scarcity. You want to let your viewer know that this sales video that they're watching may not be available forever. You don't want to have your viewers feel like they can save it for another time. It's best not to establish scarcity if you're going to leave your video sales letter up. It will reduce your credibility big time. 4. Exaggerate the problem. Exaggerate is essentially a simple step to emphasize the problem. Most people are fairly laid back with problems, but it depends on how severe the problem is. But aggravating the problem by providing detailed information may motivate the viewer to do something about it. 5. Give the solution. This is the part where you move on with the solution, which is your product, after describing the problems your viewers are facing. 6. Features and benefits. From here, you simply want to provide the features of your product and, even more significantly, the benefits that those features will bring about. 7. Call to action. This is the part where you tell your viewers what they need to do next. Most of the time it goes like, "Go now, click below and order." 8. Present your credentials. This section is where you want to explain to the viewers why they should listen to you. Add in whatever proof, testimonials, test results that would support your offer. Drive the numbers, do the math. whatever that's needed to explain why your offer is logical. 9. Give a guarantee. Provide your prospect a good solid guarantee, reassuring them that you stand behind your product. Offer a guarantee that eases your prospect's concerns about the problem. 10. Call to action number 2. This step should be appealing towards the prospect's logic. You've been building up to this call to action throughout the 2 previous steps, so you simply need to say something like, based on the results you've seen in my risk-free offer, click the order button below. 11. Give warnings, deadlines, scarcity, and guilt. If you have any deadlines associated with your offer, this is the section to mention them. There are times that you may even try to make your prospects feel guilty by stating, let me ask you a question. If you don't make any actions, how can you expect your life to get better? If your product or services that you're selling is going to help your customer change his or her life, and it should be, then why not go aggressive with it? 12. Call to action number 3. The final call to action in your sales video should be fear-based. By following all these steps, you have already created the case for why actions necessary to preventing pain or loss. Take, for example, stating something like, click here before it's too late. When it comes to purchasing decisions, there are 3 major motivations: desire, logic, and fear. This 12-step strategy works because it hits all 3 motivations. This sequence essentially harnesses each motive in a way that's both controlled and systematic. Additionally, this process helps to control the sales process, building your arguments and overcoming objections. I recommend that you take 12 steps into 12 blank slides in the PowerPoint or Keynote, so it helps you in keeping track with the information you have. When it comes to video sales letters, visuals are not exactly significant. Videos that spelled out the sales message in full sentences, as if the presenter was reading a teleprompter, converted much better in almost every single market compared to bullet points. Full sentences format basically limits distractions by having viewers listen and read along. Nonetheless, it's entirely up to you to determine how to make your sales video entertaining or make more money. When it comes to capturing and recording your video sales letter, a good start is using PowerPoint or Keynote as your slide presentation software. There are various programs to choose from, but PowerPoint's the go-to option for making sales videos as easy to use, and due to its simplicity, it promotes a nice focused presentation. If you're looking to create a sales video which includes your appearance, I recommend Camtasia Studio for PC or ScreenFlow for Mac. They are the best professional tools available around, and they're worth investing in for getting results with high-quality presentations. If you're using your own voice for your sales video, you can go with a professional recording setup, but usually an internal mic will work fine too. So how does your video sales formula flow? Decide your format, full sentence or bullet points, write your presentation using the 12 steps, record yourself giving your presentation, export the video to Flash, and you've completed your sales video. Now that I've shown you what it takes to create a video sales letter, you're now in the position to start working on your very own sales video. The sooner you start things up, the sooner you'll see conversions spike and affiliate momentum shifting to your offers.